Thank you for having me. It's excellent to be here at tonight's gathering of the Young Libertarians. Back when I was in the Young Liberals, I'm neither young nor liberal anymore, but they used to say that if it's not on social media, it didn't happen. So my comments tonight will be captured for posterity and distribution shortly. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was about the future of the Young Libertarians and a little bit about what I see as on the horizon in the future for young people and young people in politics generally in Victoria. I'm saying this against the backdrop of recent polls that showed over 35% of young people now intend to vote for the Greens as a first preference. The major parties have both had their vote fall. The statistics say it's about 10% of people under 35 in Victoria intend to vote other. We can safely assume some of those people might be voting for the evil Jordan in the Victorian Socialists, but there are still some young people in Victoria who are liberty-minded and who do want to vote for minor right parties. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is some of the experiences I had on the campaign of meeting people who had considered themselves either previously had voted Green or just believed that was the vote choice they were going to make when I initially came across them and spoke with them, because that was the only option that they knew of or thought was a principled alternative to the major parties. So a lot of young people, especially coming through high school, believe that the major parties are failing exactly as we do, but they just don't know what the other options are. Many of them believe that the Greens are simply a harmless protest vote that essentially is a vote against the major parties, but they don't really necessarily understand fully what the Greens believe. They understand and appreciate maybe some of their environmental arguments. They understand and appreciate perhaps increasingly some of their anti-war arguments, which are arguments I'm sympathetic to. I think many in the Libertarian Party would probably agree with a significant portion of the Greens and the Victorian Socialists when it comes to non-intervention policy in foreign conflicts. Although some of our colleagues on the left might have inconsistent approaches between, for example, the Palestinian conflict and the Ukraine conflict, whereas we apply the same principle to both. But a number of people I met on the campaign who were young people that I spoke with and explained what our party was about, their face lit up. They basically said, you guys are exactly what I've been looking for. Like, you guys align exactly with my values and what I think. I didn't know there was an option out there like that. They'd either previously voted Greens or were intending to vote Greens. And once they became aware of us and became aware of what our party stood for, they were very, very open to embrace that as an alternative model. So I guess I start with that anecdote to make the point that the Redbridge and Resolve polling that shows a very significant voting intention towards the Greens doesn't necessarily mean that that's a hard Greens vote, that they're really thinking about who the Greens are and what they stand for. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for us, and it comes down to, as it does for every segment of the voting population, really getting our name out there, really building our awareness and getting that penetration to actually get our brand and get our party out in front of the mainstream audience. So how do we do that, and how do the Young Libertarians come into play? Well, I think that the death in recent weeks of the late Charlie Kirk, who I think we should consider a martyr for free speech, and especially a martyr for involving young people and people in university campuses in the centre-right movement. I think that his death showed us that what he was doing was working. What he was doing was over the target. They say that the flak is strongest over the drop zone, and I think Charlie's political assassination, calculated murder in martyrdom of free speech, I think that goes to show that he was on the right track and that we actually need to continue that work, not turn away from it. I intend to, in the coming months, fire up the Australian branch of the Students for Liberty movement. So Students for Liberty were very closely connected with Charlie Kirk in the US. We've had a few sporadic attempts to get it started here in Australia. I'm going to be starting my PhD in the coming months in February. And so I'll be back on campus. I'll be really getting involved and building up the framework of the Students for Liberty. I know there are a number of you who are still studying on campus. I'm sorry, you're doing great work and you're in the trenches in the socialist heartland. Through my other work with the Free Speech Union, I'm seeing firsthand the way universities themselves as institutions deal with free speech, even amongst academics. who are brazen enough or brave enough to speak up about their views and push back against the academic orthodoxy in politics. Many of these academics and lecturers, if they do speak out and express wrongthink or dissenting thought, they are pilloried and adverse action is taken against them, HR complaints filed, and essentially they are forced out or attempted to be forced out of what should be a haven for academic freedom and intellectual thought. So our universities are still a flickering light that is still providing a beacon, but the light is certainly in danger of being extinguished. And it's never been a more important time for us to become involved in the fight to recapture our institutions and to provide an alternative view. So Students for Liberty will be an excellent vehicle for doing that. We intend to do plenty of Change My Minds and similar activities on campus. If Charlie Kirk's reception on campus and universities in America was sometimes chilly, I think you can anticipate that it'll be positively fiery here in Victoria. I think the socialists in particular will react like a colony of ants that have hot boiling water poured down their nest. They'll be absolutely furious and they'll be responding in kind. But I think that's exactly what people need to see. They need to see principled people, principled young people. I'm certainly not young anymore, but I'll be absolutely leading the charge on campus and hopefully inspiring a new generation of people, because what we know is that the liberal clubs on campus have absolutely failed. The liberal clubs and the young liberals gave rise to a motion at the New South Wales division of the Liberal Party in recent weeks, where the New South Wales branch of the Young Liberals called for an inheritance tax to be reintroduced. So this is the production line of future leaders in the Liberal Party that's been created by the moderate-infested liberal clubs in universities, where we are going to be seeing more Susan Lays of the future and less Tony Abbotts. So there's a huge gap in the university political ecosystem for principled liberty clubs, Students for Liberty, to really take a stand and to inspire a new generation of young people who are either hungry for something that they know they're looking for, or looking for an answer to a question they don't know how to frame yet. So that's what I think the future holds and what I want to spend the next couple of years, even beyond election cycles. Like state election is next year, federal election in either late 2027 or early 2028 after that. I don't think that we need to wait or even concern ourselves with those cycles so much as we need to really get into the trenches, start the long road to push back the march through the institutions to restore balance and a variety of political thought into our institutions and into the minds of the young people who are going to be the future leaders of our country and of our movement. So that's what I'm planning to do. I think that we really need to also be investing in local governments. And this is where all of you, young people, even if you think, look, I've got very little experience, I haven't necessarily achieved things in life that I feel would make me a suitable candidate for state or federal elections, I disagree with that as well. It's always a good opportunity to put your hand up to gain that experience through running for state or federal politics, and several of you here today already have. But local government is the absolute best avenue for young, politically motivated and interested people to cut their teeth, to learn valuable skills. The Greens treat local government like an incubator of future political talent, so should we. And no other minor party on the right in Victoria contests local government elections. We need to vigorously. The example in New South Wales shows that sometimes the Liberals forget to do their homework and don't hand in the paperwork necessary to contest things properly. And if we contest as many local government elections as possible, there's always a chance that a candidate will be the only person who nominates an award, or there might be a two-horse race, or otherwise our candidates might get across the line. So in the Golden Plains Shire, where my parents live, the highest voted candidate who went across the post first to win first place out of their 7 wards, or seven councillor single ward, was a back to basics anarcho-capitalist independent. So, you know, the appetite is there. We have this huge opportunity to invest in these institutions and political processes that are going to be generating the future of our party's young leadership and the future of our country's leadership. So thank you all for getting involved. If you've got friends who aren't yet in the party or haven't yet come along to one of these events, make sure that next time we've got 15 instead of 9, then 30, then 50. And sooner or later, we'll have young libertarian branches elsewhere in the state as well. So thank you so much for everything you guys have already done. And in future, at local government, state government, federal government elections, I'll look forward to being side by side with you as we do flying squads to support door knocking, letterboxing, all those kinds of activities. Young people are great ways to engage with members of the community, and you guys can make an outsized impact to assist campaigns wherever those resources are needed and can be brought to bear. So there's a lot of experience and a lot of ways that the young libertarians can be deployed that I hope to help bring you to some lessons and experiences from the Liberal Party. But again, thank you all for everything you've already done, and thanks for being here tonight.